Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food no matter what you're craving. From 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings. Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week all season long. Uber Eats, the official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now for game day. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
Welcome into a Week 9 Giants Hangout brought to you by Crestron. My name is Madelyn Burke, joined as always by Russ Salzberg and Matt Citak. And guys, Week 9 already midway through the season. It's coming off a tough loss on Monday Night Football in prime time. And Russ, we talked about this. You know, the offense is getting the ball moving, but hasn't executed enough, especially this week when we saw those penalty flags.
Listen, everybody, we saw things that we liked. You know, we saw Tyrone Tracy. We saw some good thing. We saw some big catches, but you know, it's an old. You know, in baseball, they say, "Oh, those bases on balls." Well, in football, oh, those self-inflicted wounds. Oh my goodness, with illegal procedure and an ineligible man downfield. I mean, you got to be better than that. You know, I say it all the time with a lot of things, whether it's catching a ball or what. This is not high school. It's not college. It's the National Football League. Come on, guys. You got to be better than that. And, you know, Madelyn, you're there. Matt, you're there. I'm there. We see what goes on with the guys working out. We see what the practice. The coaches coach these guys up big time. I don't know what it is, but the execution, you know, there's an old saying, John McKay, who was the first coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers way back. I think they were winless at the time. And somebody, a reporter asked McKay, what do you think about your offense's execution? About the execution of your offense? And McKay said, yeah, I'm all for it. Meaning execute my offense. You know, these guys have to be better than that. We see a lot of good things. I think Tyrone Tracy, correct me. Well, he's either a 4th or a 5th round pick. I don't have it in front of me. This, and you guys see him in the locker room. I see him in the locker room. He doesn't conduct himself like a rookie. There's an air about him, and I don't mean air as if cocky. He's just a confident young man, like as if I belong. And what we're seeing on the field, he very much belongs. So I think he's going to be getting the ball a lot. Now, let's see what happens with he's in concussion protocol right now. So that's a whole other issue. But, you know, to me, the biggest thing, Madelyn and Matt, is these self-inflicted wounds. You got to be better than that. And those are correctable mistakes. I don't want to beat it into the ground, but they got to be better than that.
Yeah, this sort of seemed like, I don't know if I say the first time all season, but definitely like the biggest case.
Yes.
The Giants just shooting themselves in the foot, honestly. I mean, you look at the final tally, the Giants had 11 penalties, only for 65 yards. And granted, the last one was that defensive too many men on the field, which I want to ask Coach Dable today. I feel like that might have been intentional to give Pittsburgh the first down in order to stop the clock and get the ball back. But regardless, the other, I believe, at least 9, if not the other 10 penalties, I think were all on the offense. And they were all, you know, illegal formation, illegal shift, like these small ticky-tack penalties that ended up really hurting the Giants. I mean, one of them, illegal, I think it was the illegal motion on Malik Neighbors, took a touchdown off the board, and he had nothing to do with the play. He just didn't get himself set for 1 second before the ball was snapped, and it ended up taking a touchdown off the board. So going into Pittsburgh, this is, again, one of the toughest venues to play as an opposing team, and especially in prime time. And we all know the stat of the last time the Steelers lost a home game on Monday Night Football was 1991. So the margin for error going into the game was already very thin. and the Giants couldn't really afford to make those kind of mental mistakes, and they did. And you look at their performance in the red zone. The Giants ended up going 0 for 3 in the red zone, and a very big reason for that was because of these small ticky-tack penalties that ended up costing them and actually took points off of the board at one point.
Look, nobody likes walking off the field with a loss. Nobody. But a loss is more tolerable when you walk off the field if you know you just got beat. But when you walk off the field and you say to yourselves, we beat ourselves, or we certainly helped the opponent beat us with those inexcusable mistakes, it drives you crazy. The one thing that I will say that I was happy about, and there were some issues on the sideline, and I heard some people talking about or writing about it. You could see players are getting frustrated. They were
As
talking,
they should be.
exactly. I want my guys angry. I wanted to see Dexter.
Yeah, you don't
Lawrence
want to
was the
see.
nicest.
You don't want to see everybody like ho hum. We're not.
No.
You don't want to see that. No,
I
you
want them
people
angry.
to be-
I was thrilled to see Daniel Jones really mad. He ticked off. That's exactly what I wanted to see. So to me, I'd be frustrated if they didn't show their frustration. I want them that way. I thought that was a good sign.
I do too. I agree because I think it shows that not just the coach, but the team in general holds themselves and their teammates to a higher standard. I mean, you see, Dexter Lawrence having words with some of his teammates, not in a negative way, but just in like, hey, listen, we got to do better. You see Daniel Jones expressing his emotion. And that's, like you said, you want to see that passion and that want to, because when that complacency sets in and the players are like, well, this is who we are, that's not going to get you anywhere, because this team still believes, hey, we are better than this. Let's level up and play to the level that we are capable of. And even Brian Dable said after the game that he was really proud of the guys who were expressing those sentiments on the sideline, Matt.
Yeah, I agree with you guys completely. I mean, this is Daniel Jones' 6th season with the Giants. That was the first time I've seen him react like that in 6 years. My first season working for the Giants was Daniel Jones' rookie year, and I don't think I've ever seen him show that level of emotion. And it was honestly great to see. And I think it hopefully will sort of galvanize, at least the offense. And you guys brought up Dexter Lawrence also was doing something similar to the same. It's good to see the team's leaders stepping up and being like, look, we are 2-6. This is not unacceptable. All of us agree that this is unacceptable. We all believe we are better than this 2-6 record, but what we believe doesn't matter. We need to go out and prove it and start winning football games. And I think, these team leaders showing this level of emotion is going to help the team moving forward and starting this Sunday against the Commanders.
The best part of football season? Checking out the post-game stats. Which wideouts scored more than 2 touchdowns? Which QBs threw for less than 350 yards? Think you can pick who will do what before kickoff? Then play Pick 6 from DraftKings, an official daily fantasy partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app, select between 2 and 6 players, and choose if they'll have more or less of a stat. It's that simple. And for all first-time Pick 6 players, check this out. New customers play $5 on your first pick set, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Download the new DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code DK1. That's code DK1 for new customers to play $5 on your first pick set, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Only on DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Non-withdrawable. Pick 6 credits. Expire in 6 months. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Absolutely, because it's like if your boss is in your ear in any situation, you're like, yes, of course you say it. But when your peers and when your colleagues are saying, hey, you got, that's a different kind of level of like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah, no, Daniel also said something, and post game when somebody questioned him about, wow, we're seeing intensity. We saw intensity tonight that we don't normally see. I'm paraphrasing, and his response was, no, I'm intense every game. Maybe I'm not showing it outwardly. I'm intense every game. He had an edge on. I thought, I'm glad we all agree, because if somebody wants to say, well, you show, somebody, you can spin it and say, well, the team's being pulled apart. They're frustrated with. No, they're angry because they believe they're better than this. So my suggestion to everybody is, if you believe you are better than this, well, let's start showing it this week against the Commanders and stop beating yourselves. Make sure you beat the opponent.
Right. It's like they talk about they're putting in the work, they're putting in the preparation. It's just not translating. And it can be frustrating, right? If you're, if you're in the gym running every day trying to get faster and then you go out and run your 10K and you still are at the same pace, you're like, what is going on? What am I not doing? That's frustrating. That's going to translate. I think that this team is feeling those similar frustrations in the fact that they are putting in the effort and trying to figure out when they will get to that tipping point that it'll translate. One of the points though that you brought up, Russ, Tyrone Tracy was running through guys. I mean, the amount of yards that he had after contact were incredible. There was a 17-yard run that I feel like he had to work for 16 of those. I mean, he got contacted right off the bat and was dragging defenders with him. He had a 45-yard touchdown, the Giants' only offensive touchdown of the game. Unfortunately, Tyrone Tracy is in the concussion protocol this week, but the way that we've seen him like light a spark in the run game and the way that the run game has helped get the Giants going. I mean, Matt, we've talked about this in weeks past, the importance of getting the run game going. Devin Singletary obviously still available and still capable of doing that. But when you look at the way that this Washington game is going to go, how important is it to focus on getting the run going?
Yeah, I mean, it's vital regardless of who the opponent is, because if you have a good run game and you establish the run game, then the defenders are going to have to respect that. And they're, that's going to open things up for the passing game. I mean, we spoke last week about complementary football. The run game helps the pass game, just like the pass game helps the run game. Now, we don't know if the Giants are going to have Tyrone Tracy, because as you mentioned, coach said he's in the concussion protocol. But I just want to highlight his performance against the Steelers, because wow, was he impressive. And this was going up against one of, if not the best run defenses in the entire NFL, a defensive line that consists of TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Cameron Hayward, and Tyrone Tracy basically did whatever he wanted with the ball in his hands. It was incredible. He averaged over 7 yards per carry, the second time this season, since he's become the starter, that he has averaged over 7 yards per carry. And you mentioned his yards after contact. 3.7 yards after contact, which is incredible. It's his highest of the season. He had 4 different runs of over 10 yards. And this was a little fun tidbit from Next Gen Stats. On that 45-yard touchdown run, he reached a top speed of 20.6 miles per hour, which is the fastest any offensive ball carrier on the Giants has reached in the last 2 seasons.
Wow.
So he's been great. He forced 5 missed tackles, which was 50% of the amount of forced tackles he missed or forced all season. And again, this was going up against an elite run defense of the Steelers. So, if he's unable to make it this Sunday against the Commanders, that's obviously going to be a tough blow. But as we saw early in the season, Devin Singletary, he's got plenty of juice left. I mean, I just brought up forced missed tackles. Through the first, I believe, 3 or 4 weeks of the season, he led all running backs in forced tackles missed. So whether it's Singletary or Tyrone Tracy, it is going to be very important for the Giants to establish the run. And this matchup against the Commanders, it is one that they, can take advantage of on the ground, and they should be able to establish the run early and often.
Yeah, what you said about Tyrone is so true. And if you recall, I mentioned it last week. I'll say it again. He runs, I use my boxing phrase, Tyrone Tracy runs with bad intentions. He's looking to do business. Get out of my way. I mean, there's a fierceness and an attitude that he runs like he's all business, which is great. I mean, one thing that I want to bring up, flipping over to the defense again, they have good games, but again, there was at the end of the third period, the third quarter, 3rd and 11 is a 36-yard gain that they give up. Earlier, there was a 3rd and 12. The Steelers pick up 17. Those are the things we were talking about last week. Explosive. We need explosive plays on offense. We need explosive plays. Make sure you don't give them up on defense. They're still rearing their ugly heads when it comes to that, and that has to be stopped as well.
especially on third and long too. I think we saw
Exactly.
those
Yeah.
situations in previous games as well. The defense gets them into a third and long position, and it's a combination of, one blown coverage or
Yeah.
defense just being gassed for being out there or whatever it is. But when you've got them in third and long, you gotta hold them.
Get them off the field. That's what the problem is. And it drives you nuts. Like I'm looking at a team, I'm saying, boy, we're doing good. We're doing good. Then boom, third and 15th. Come on. That's what you have to do. And I don't know if it's execution, concentration, whatever it is, but tighten up that chin strap and let's go. Make it happen.
Well,
I
and the
will.
defense. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
I was just gonna say, you brought up that third and long, which obviously the Steelers got the first down, extended the drive. You don't want to see that, but for the most part, the defense has been doing a good job of getting off the field in those key situations. I mean, the week before against the Eagles, which a game obviously we all agree was a pretty ugly game, they held the Eagles, I believe it was like 1 for 13 on third down. Now the Steelers had a little bit more success, but still through the first 8 games of the season, the Giants have the number 7 ranked third down defense.
Well, and
And in
that's
addition
that
to that,
Eagles stat is a little bit misleading though, because the amount of times that they went for it on fourth down.
well, yeah, they did go 3 for 3 on fourth down.
Yeah.
That is true, but
And
even if
converting.
you want to count those, that's 4 for 13. That's still a very good defense.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food, no matter what you're craving. From 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings. Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week all season long. Uber Eats, the official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now for game day. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Right. And, but speaking about the defense, though, they are still getting a lot of pressure, still leading the league in sacks. Dexter Lawrence was involved in every single pressure, it seemed like, and he didn't get a sack on the stat sheet, but he was everywhere in the game on Monday night. Azeez Ojulari with 2 sacks, who's been really stepping up in the absence of Kayvon Thibodeau. And Matt, I know that you talked about this earlier in the year, that the potential was there for him to rise to that occasion, and he's absolutely executed in that way. It's about kind of finding a balance though between that defensive front and the corners and the safeties in the backfield. And I know that they came into Monday's game really depleted at corner, with Cordell Flott and Adoree Jackson, but out. And but when you look at the balance of the defensive approach right now and the success that they've been able to have, especially coming into this season, fans and media alike were asking, well, I know with Wink's defense, we blitz a lot, and how are we going to get pressure? Well, the Giants are getting pressure. Again, leading the league in sacks, getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. The defense has really become the strength of this team. How do you see that continuing to translate, but also evolving when you're going against a Washington team that's coming off an incredible win over the Chicago Bears, a Hail Mary to end that game, and a dynamic young quarterback in Jaden Daniels, who's going to be an absolute threat?
Well, I excuse me. I think from the Giants standpoint, they look at themselves and they look at the game film and they say, you know what? We had them in their own building, so let's take care of them in our building. If you remember, if Malik catches that ball but had a first down, the Giants were going to win that game.
If they had a kicker, Giants were going to win that game.
Yeah. So what was it? But even with that, they were still going to win that game. That's a great point. If they had a kicker, yes. But even with that mess, Madelyn, again, it's execution. It's getting the job done. And no, listen, you saw Malik just with his face down on the turf. He knew that was his ball. He took it upon himself. He accepts that responsibility, and he holds himself to a high standard. Well, go take care of it this week. To me, they have to know that they can beat that team with that great young quarterback or not. So go do it, because you had them last time in their own place.
Yeah, for sure. And, just going back to the defense, you mentioned Dexter Lawrence against the Steelers. He might not have finished with a sack on the box score, but you can basically credit that Brian Burns sack to Dexter Lawrence, because he did about 95% of the work and Brian Burns was just there to sort of finish it off. I know that doesn't show up in the box score, but for those of us, watching and talking about the game, Dexter Lawrence, deserved a sack on that one. But the pass rush, the unit has honestly probably been better these last couple of weeks than it even was at the start of the season, which is sort of incredible to think about when you remember that Kayvon Thibodeau was still on injured reserve. But Azeez Ojulari that you brought up, Madelyn, he's been on fire. He has at least 1 sack in the last 3 games, 5 sacks total in the last 3 games. Brian Burns has a sack in each of the last 4 games. And the trio of Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, and Azeez Ojulari, they seem to, almost every single drop back of the opposing quarterback, they seem to be able to get at least some pressure on the quarterback. Not all of them result in sacks, of course, but they are able to get after the quarterback. And the first time the Giants played the Commanders, granted it was week 2, it was only Jayden Daniels' second start of his career, but the Giants were able to get to Jayden Daniels as well. I mean, they sacked him 5 times, which is tough to do against a mobile quarterback that is not afraid to tuck the ball down and just run with it. So the pass rush is already shown that they can have success against Jayden Daniels. This game at home, where obviously home field advantage, you have the crowd noise working to your advantage. I don't see why they shouldn't be able to get after Jayden Daniels again early and often and just apply pressure on him. I mean, you brought up the Hail Mary, which has got to be the play of the year so far in the NFL. But the reason why it was able to happen was just because he had so much time to sit in the pocket. I mean, I think it was like 12 and a half seconds from when he snapped the ball to when he actually threw it. Granted, it's a Hail Mary. That sort of protection is not going to last on a normal play. But if the Giants are able to just pressure Jayden Daniels and get after him, you're going to start to see, as great as he's been, you're going to start to be able to show he is a rookie quarterback that is going to make some mistakes with the ball in his hands.
You also said something before, Matt, about, the home crowd and you in front of your home fans. It's imperative for the Giants to get their home fans, give them something early to get revved up about, not fall behind, not do a failure in the red zone, not give up the big play. Give them something early to get revved up about. Get them excited early so they're into the game and you hear their voices loud and clear by doing it early.
Yeah, especially because the Giants have had so much more success on the road than at home this season and of late. And I think those home fans, those season ticket holders are eager to see some fireworks at home as well. But it'll be a fun one, a division game Sunday at home at MetLife Stadium. Final thoughts, final points. What is the focus going into week 9 for this Giants team to get a win against the Commanders, Matt?
For me, and I feel like a broken record, I say this almost every week, but it's got to be the performance in the red zone on both sides of the ball. I mean, the Giants went 0 for 4 in the red zone against the Steelers this past Monday night. That's just, honestly, it's not going to get it done. You're not going to win football games if you're not able to punch it into the end zone when you get close. Now, the red zone defense against the Steelers, as I mentioned before, was great. They held them without a touchdown on every single trip inside the red zone. But again, I brought up Jayden Daniels being this mobile dual threat quarterback. He's not afraid to just tuck the ball down and run with it. And if they get into the red zone and he starts feeling a little pressure and gets flushed out of the pocket, that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to tuck the ball and run it himself and try to get into the end zone. So the performance in the red zone of both sides of the ball, if the Giants can improve from in those areas from the last time they played the Commanders, even the last game against the Steelers, then they have a good chance of winning this football game.
Well, from my standpoint, I'll make it real simple. Attention to detail. That's what the Giants need to do. If they pay attention to detail and they execute properly, I think they have a very good chance of coming away with a home victory.
I think both those are great points. Red zone, you got to execute detail, especially do the simple things right, do the little things effectively, and just get off to a strong start. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't dig yourself in a hole that you can't get out of, because we want to give those home fans something to cheer for Sunday at MetLife Stadium. It's a 1 p.m. kickoff, Giants Commanders, week 9. We hope we'll see you there. That's a wrap for a week 9 Giants Hangout, brought to you by Crestron. For Russ Salzberg and Matt Citak, I'm Madelyn Burke. We'll see you next week.
I'm Peter Schrager, host of Good Morning Football on the NFL Network and the Season with Peter Schrager podcast. Whether you're ordering wings for the game or you're whipping up a 7-layer dip or you're ordering a pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food, no matter what you're craving. From 2-for-1 pizzas to buy one, get one wings to whatever it is you want, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week all season long. Uber Eats is the official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now for game day. Terms and conditions apply, and see the app for details.
You wake up, put on your Ray-Ban Meta glasses. You're living all in. You realize you need coffee. So you say,
"Hey, Meta, how do I make a latte?"
Brew 2 shots of espresso.
after Meta AI gets you caffeinated, you're ready for some beats.
"Hey, Meta, play hip-hop music."
You head to meet some friends, but can't remember the place.
"Hey, Meta, call Eva."
Ray-Ban Meta glasses, the next generation of AI glasses. Just say, hey, Meta, to harness the power of Meta AI. Shop now at meta.com/smartglasses.